Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, this is May 31st, actually the 5th Sunday in May, and we should all know by now we are working on the ABCs, the awareness, believing, and compassion are our themes for May. So I want to talk some about compassion. I did some reading in preparation for this, and the question is, what is compassion? And the various writers talk about it as an emotion, kind of an intense emotion in the intensity of grief or sorrow or joy. Other writers talk about it as a virtue or a duty, or even just a personality characteristic. And others talk about it as a feeling that is common to humankind. And there are some that are now talking about it being a feeling common to animal kind as well. Some evidence of cows appearing to be grieving when one of their herd moves on. So I also looked in just a standard dictionary for the definition of compassion, and it really focused on a feeling of deep sympathy for another's suffering or misfortune. And that didn't feel right, and I recalled Sandy West saying last week that compassion is living life with an open heart. And that really seems to fit better for me, and it seems to fit better with the way things are talked about here at the Positive Living Center. The sympathy seems to create a separation or a duality between an us and the suffering them. And I think that the oneness that we talk about here is really where the answer lies. The Dalai Lama talks about compassion as well, and sets it up like this. He says that we are, as human beings, we're here on earth to create happy lives for ourselves. We hear that here, we hear that from Angie just a couple of weeks ago, and others frequently. And that the greatest degree of inner tranquility that we as humans, the greatest happiness comes as a result of love and compassion. And that the more we care about the happiness of others, the greater our own sense of well-being. And that is both a mental and a physical well-being. We heard from Betty, or we see from Betty, I think it's Betty that sends out those emails each week reminding us, a real selfless service, thank you Betty. But she said for this week to come on Sunday and hear how we, what these mean, and how we develop our hearts and minds to hold these characteristics of awareness, of believing, and compassion. So I wanted to touch on the developing part some here. That, like I said, I believe that compassion is rooted in the belief that we are all one, that we're all connected, and that everyone, the Dalai Lama says this, everyone, regardless of whatever kind of activities they're engaged in, is really about seeking a happy life for themselves, and that there are no exceptions. We are all looking for happiness here, and that we can develop our compassion by using the events of our daily lives to move our thinking towards compassion. By being aware of the negative thoughts that we have, or the dismissive or judgmental or kind of thoughts about other people that are not particularly pro-social or conducive to a love and compassion lifestyle. By being aware of them and then believing that we can transform them and committing ourselves to that transformation, we can actually deliver ourselves to a place of love and compassion. A simple practice that I use when I remember what I like to use is that when I'm walking into a court building, I walk down a hallway past the hall is lined with benches where seated in those benches are parents who have abused or allegedly abused or neglected their children. It's really a place where, you know, judgments can arise, and there can be negative thoughts that come from that. I over the last few years, I've been thinking as I walk into that I love myself, and I love those who are here, and I do have some sort of affirmation thought, just some expansive affirmation that we are all there for benefit today, that we are all going to get something from this experience, and we are going to give our lives some thought, and we're going to leave here the better for it. I really like that in that it tunes me up. At a minimum, it tunes me up. I'm calmer. I'm more focused on really the underlying task at hand, to really be compassionate, to be loving, and to improve matters for everybody that is in that experience. Another thing that I like to do to develop compassion in my daily life is I have a poem, or not a poem, but a little prayer by the Dalai Lama that I keep on my dresser. And to close, I'd like to read that poem. It's a brief thing. It's entitled A Precious Human Life. And it goes this way. Every day, think as you wake up. Today, I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. I am not going to waste it. I am going to use all my energies to develop myself, to expand my heart out to others. I am not going to get angry. I'm not going to think badly about others. I am going to benefit others as much as I can. Thank you.